Is your child teething on their crib and you just don't know what the heck to do? Well, this video might be for you. I'm going to show you how to make a crib rail cover. First, what you're going to do is you're going to measure the length and the width of each side of your crib. Since there's going to be a lot of numbers involved, I figured I would draw it out to make things easier to understand. First, we're going to start with the front side of the crib. So you measure out the inside length, and that gives me 51 inches. Then I'm going to add an inch for seam allowance, making that 52 inches total. And then I'm going to measure out the width all the way around, and that's going to give me 16 inches. And like I did before, I'm going to add another inch for the seam allowance, giving us 17 inches. So just to recap, our front measurements are going to be 52 by 17 inches. Now you're going to measure out the sides. The length for the side is going to be 27 inches plus an inch for the seam allowance, giving us 28 inches. And then for the width all the way around, it's going to be 10 inches. Again, adding the 1 inch for the seam allowance is going to give us 11 inches. The front measurements are going to be 52 by 17 inches for one piece of quilt batting and 2 pieces of fabric, whereas the sides are going to be 28 by 11 inches, and you're going to cut out 2 pieces of quilt batting and then 4 pieces of fabric. Here I am measuring out my fabric and marking it off. Then you're going to cut it out. Next, you're going to cut out the quilting batting with those same measurements like I mentioned before. Next up is the bias tape, and what you're going to want to do is go look at your crib and see how many openings there are in it. For the side right here, there's 7, so I'm going to cut out 14 for one side because you're going to want to have 2 ties for the bias tape. Alright, so now we're going to be putting everything together. So start with the quilt batting, and then you're going to put your fabric on facing up. And then you're going to add all of the bias tape, making sure that you evenly disperse it so that it'll tie correctly around the crib rail. Then you're going to put the second piece of fabric on facing down. After this, you're going to mark off 1/2 inch on each side. For the seam allowance, you don't have to do this, but I did this to make it easier for me. And then I pinned everything together. And you're only going to sew 3 of the 4 sides, leaving one of the small sides open so that you can turn it inside out after you're done. And you're just going to be using a simple straight stitch all the way around. Then you're going to take it and fold it inside out. And once you do that, then take it back to the sewing machine and sew that last side. And you're done. Thank you for watching.